What's going on, Odd Squad? It's your boys with the recap. We're coming off of UFC Vegas 17. The card's over. Phenomenal card, loaded with action. A lot of underdogs came through, a lot of crazy spots. This was a very tough card, I felt like, this week. We had a lot of people that were very confident on either side of a lot of bets. I think a lot of people got smoked. I think some people did pretty good. I did pretty good, man. You're not going to hear me complaining. Great night for me, profitable night. How'd you do, Al?
It was one of those nights where it started off so well. We had Jimmy Flick with that beautiful flying triangle.
Incredible.
There were the prelims are great betting wise, and it kind of just I got duped, and we'll talk about it. I got duped a little bit on this one.
Damn. Well, it happens, man. This is our last card of 2020. It's going to be crazy. I think we got some stuff we're cooking up for you folks, so be on the lookout. We might not be done with 2020 just yet. But let's get into this one, man. The main card, the first fight of the night on the main card was Marcin Tybura goes out there, ground and pound TKOs Greg Hardy. Man, 4 minutes, 31 seconds into the second round. An incredible hot start from Greg Hardy. Goes out there, looks really good. I think a lot of people thought Greg Hardy was just going to be too big, too athletic, too powerful, and was going to put Tybura away. Man, Hardy looked very, very good in that first round. Landed some tremendous shots. Tybura clearly lost the first round, goes back to his corner, gets coached up. They tell this guy, listen, you've taken his best shots. Go out there, do your thing, go first, move forward. Man, totally different fight in the second round. Tybura eventually gets Greg Hardy to the mat. We talked about this on the Friday show, that if Tybura could get Greg Hardy down, there was a very good chance he was going to be able to finish him, put in that work, get him out of there. Sure enough, late in the second, gets on him. Got to keep it real, man. Not very impressed with what we saw with Greg Hardy on the mat there. Little bit of a quit job, if you ask me. Didn't really fight back, kind of accepted position. Tybura's landing good ground and pound, right? Landing good shots, but Greg Hardy just kind of covers up, turns away. The ref gave him every chance in the world to continue fighting. I think it could have been stopped even sooner, but at some point, Greg Hardy just turns away, shows he's done, he's out of the fight. Tybura gets the win. Very impressive win for the slight underdog in Tybura. A guy that I backed, and a lot of people told me I was crazy. Tybura gets it done. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, it was, there was no way you should have been touching Greg Hardy in this fight with anybody's money. He's got some great power, but this guy has such bad asthma that I think that it's detrimental to his health to even be out in public right now with all that's going on. Like he looks so asthmatic every time he goes into that corner. Like, it gives me anxiety just looking at him. Like, I think he's just gonna keel over. Like, his breathing is so labored, and as soon as you put your weight on this guy and you let him punch himself out for a little bit, like his boxing is so improved. Yeah, but how that's not gonna get you very far when you can't breathe. So I don't know this. Like, I don't know what I think the ceiling is falling down on Greg Hardy very quickly here, and he might move the meter, like, as far as the UFC goes with his popularity as a fighter and all that. But it's getting dicey, and like, not taking anything away from Marcin Tybura. He fought a great fight, and I think that's his fourth fight he's won in a row.
Fourth fight of 2020, I believe, that he won in a row. So he had a phenomenal 2020.
Yeah. So, I mean, not taking anything away from him, but like Greg Hardy, it seems like the game plan is to withstand that first 5 minutes, and then you can almost basically, build your game plan off of that. I don't know what we'll see next from Greg Hardy. Even when he fought Mo Green, and he still was laboring after that. Like, I don't know what the future holds for Greg Hardy in 2021 in the UFC.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I think there might be a good chance we actually don't see him 2021 in the UFC. We know the UFC is going through big cuts, right? Greg Hardy's a guy, man, he makes a lot of money compared to most people in his position within the company, if you know what I mean, which, apparently coming from the NFL, they got to pay him big money or something. But I honestly don't think he's the draw the UFC thought he might be. If he came into the UFC and just won like 4 or 5 fights in a row by KO, looking like a title contender, maybe the UFC would say, okay, we'll keep this guy around. We'll pay this guy. I don't know, though, man. Such a mixed bag. He's won some fights and looked good, but I think at this point it's pretty obvious Greg Hardy is not going to be a top 15, a top-level heavyweight. He was talking about transitioning to boxing, and I'm like, dude, if you only have one round in you in MMA, how in the world are you going to go out there and fight 12 3-minute rounds? That ain't happening, man. That dude would get pieced up so bad by even personally, I think, professional heavyweights in boxing. I just don't see it. Greg Hardy, dude, I don't know what you're smoking, but you need to quit because like my man Al said, that asthma's bad. So do you got anything you want to throw on this one before we move on?
No, let's if we can never talk about Greg Hardy again in the UFC, I would be happy.
Yeah, I might be with you, man. All right, so next fight. I can tell you what, man, this one was slightly disappointing for me because, Rob Font goes out here, knocks out Marlon Moraes 3 minutes, 47 seconds into the first round. I picked Rob Font to win this fight. I liked him as the underdog in this spot. But you know what, Al? My angle was Marlon Moraes always comes out, shows us a very solid first round, almost always wins the first round. My man couldn't even make it to the friggin' second round of this fight, eats some huge shots. Dang, dude, what are we doing here? I thought I was going to be able to get a live bet on Rob Font at like plus 200, plus 250. I thought Marlon was going to come out, look good, look sharp. And then we know Marlon falls off a cliff after the first round. I thought Font would pick it up, maybe finish him in that second, probably finish him in that third. Rob Font goes out there, does not mess around, hits him with some crazy shots. Oh, I got to tell you guys something, man. It's been a rough stretch. We're just talking about Marcin Tybura had a great 2020. Boy, Marlon Moraes has had a horrific 2020. This guy's gone from winning 2 rounds against Cejudo, right, the champion for the 135-pound strap, gets finished in the third, and, man, has just been thoroughly smoked really ever since. And honestly, the only win since then, the split decision over Jose Aldo, that I'm probably not even very questionable that he even won that fight. So Marlon Moraes, man, a serious skid. Another guy that's probably getting paid a lot of money that might be on that chopping block after some terrible KO losses. What did you think of this one, Al?
Yeah, like Marlon Moraes, if you look at just such a decline, such a steep decline. If you look at the 3 fights that led up to the Cejudo fight, Aljamain Sterling, he won performance of the night bonus. Jimmy Rivera, he won by KO first round, performance of the night bonus. Rafael Assunção, submission, first round, performance of the night bonus. And then from then on, the loss to Cejudo, then the questionable decision against Aldo.
Gift. I'll call it a gift.
Yeah. And then Sandhagen, Sandhagen kicked his head off. And totally. I feel that he came back way too, he looked so chinny tonight. Like he looked like a swift wind could have knocked him out, Font was plus 450 to win by TKO, plus 375 to win inside the distance. I'm not taking anything away from Rob Font. He's 8-3 in the UFC since 2014. But, this was I don't even maybe Marlon Moraes go to Ryzen or ONE FC or something, or I don't even think Bellator would. I don't think Bellator would want him.
Oh man, that's rough, Al.
He doesn't have entertaining fights. He just gets he just struggles to get a decision, and I'm just basing this off the last 2 years that we've seen him. But I don't think he's getting finished, and it's not entertaining to watch. You heard DC screaming that the fight should have been stopped. I thought he was still had his hands up, and Marlon Moraes is probably too tough for his own good, and it kind of looked like he was defending himself. But It just is what it is. You have to
Right.
give a guy like that his chance, right? This is a guy who was the number one contender in the division, and he's just fallen off the cliff since then. So I understand giving him a chance to maybe recover, but it didn't work. It just didn't work.
Yeah. No, well, and that's the problem, Al, is like we're talking about a dude who's potentially chinny. Like, don't get me wrong, and you know what? I hate the fact that we're talking about Marlon Moraes, the fall from grace of Marlon Moraes, when really we should be giving Rob Font all the props in the world. And I want to. I really, we really need to give Rob Font his props, man. This guy's come on. He truly is one of the best bantamweights in the world at this point. Unfortunately, he's only fought once a year for the last 2 years. I think, honestly, the more casual fan base really doesn't know who Rob Font is. And the guy's out there knocking out Marlon Moraes, who a year ago people were telling me was going to just blow through Henry Cejudo, a guy who was just clearly going to be your new bantamweight champ and was going to reign. You know what I mean? But, man, Marlon Moraes, who we're very worried about that chin. The guy got knocked out about 3 or 4 times just tonight. Like, he got starched a couple times, almost got like woken back up by strikes, and then like kind of knocked out again. Oh, he's back up and he's down again. Like, dude, this was bad. Like, he took a really, really bad beating, and we're already concerned about his chin. This guy might be officially, I'll go ahead, I'll just say he is. He's a glass cannon at this point. If he gets his stuff off first, he's still going to be dangerous early in that first round. When we look at his fights, even the fights he's had success, the fights he's won in the UFC, he's kind of like early first round KO, or he does lose. But at one point, he was blowing through everybody just so quickly. The Aljamain Sterling KO, the Jimmy Rivera KO, 2 dudes who, Jimmy Rivera not so much, but Aljamain Sterling's right there for the title shot now. And man, if we ran that back, I swear Aljo wins that fight 9 out of 10 times.
That finish was a fluke. Like that, he ran right into his leg.
Right.
And he knocked himself unconscious basically on Marlon's leg. That was a fluke.
Right. And that's what I mean. So subtract a couple, 1-minute victories in Marlon Moraes' run in the UFC, and man, it looks drastically different. And you know what? He could be on the chopping block. So let's keep it rolling. Here's a fight that, this was close. This was crazy. Luckily, I ended up on the right side. I'm going to go ahead and say this Michel Pereira unanimous decision win over Khaos Williams. I think in 2020, I never saw a fight where it was such a hard line drawn. People who were backing Khaos Williams said, Khaos Williams wins this fight. I know he wins this fight. He's so deadly. He's so dangerous. And then I saw a lot of people saying, listen, Michel Pereira, this guy's the better fighter. He's the more complete fighter. He should win this fight. Personally, I was on that side, but I was, I erred with nothing wrong. I ended up betting on Michel Pereira, and I'm very glad I did, as, again, the slight underdog here. I got him for even money. But I knew this was a very, very dangerous spot. I mean, Khaos Williams, who was 2-0 in the UFC up to this point with 2 30-second KOs, how people got so confident on either side, I'll never know. Michel Pereira gets it done. I think a lot of people think Khaos Williams won this one. And when I looked at the media scores, I think it was split about 12-8. Most people think Pereira won, but a lot of people think Khaos Williams won. So I will say this, man. I'm not going to scream robbery on either side. I do think it was a very close fight, but I think they got it right. I think the right man won this one. What do you think?
Yeah, can we stop calling him Khaos Williams now? Can we use his real name? His real name is Kalen. Can we start calling him that now? Because that wasn't Khaos. And I got sucked in, and I bet on him. And I've said this a couple times. It was one of those fights where as soon as the fight started, I was like, oh, I'm going to lose. Because, even just if you just looked at their footwork, even the footwork alone, Michel Pereira had, he's so much more talented, and he might not have the hitting power that Khaos Williams supposedly has, but he looked to make Khaos Williams, he shelled up quite a bit in this fight. He wasn't the destroyer that they made him out to be. And yeah, it was, I almost say it was a clinic. It was unorthodox, but Faea, he has this when he's winning a fight, he's really good at closing it out. He's I don't even know how to describe it. It's just I can't even say that he has a good fight IQ because he has the worst fight IQ ever. But when he senses that he has a lead or the momentum, he just starts shimmying and starts, bringing he was Khaos. We should call him Khaos now. He should steal the moniker Khaos from Khaos.
It don't get no more chaotic than my man Michel Pereira. I mean, it's like the goddamn circus came to town and actually one of the trapeze artists can kick everybody's ass. You know what I mean? Like, he's crazy. So
they should
you know what though, Al, here's what I think is the biggest takeaway from this fight. We have the blueprint on how you beat Khaos Williams, right? We learned late in that third, which don't get me wrong, man, you're talking about Michel's fight IQ. Dude, where were those takedowns earlier in the fight? This did not need to be that close of a fight. Whoa, Khaos has no takedown defense whatsoever. Here's the new game plan. Let me break it down for you guys real quick how you beat Khaos Williams. Okay, the fight starts. You run away. You just run in circles around him. That first 30 seconds, 1 minute, let him whiff some good hard shots. Get in underneath, hit that takedown, get on top of him, and don't ever let him get up. And if he does, shoot on him again. Because we found out, Michel Pereira didn't come from, a Big Ten NCAA wrestling background, and he was taking down Khaos Williams like it was nothing. So I think we learned Khaos. I think he got a little bit exposed. Michel kind of gave Khaos the fight Khaos wanted, right? But Michel Pereira, he's a showman, like he says, he doesn't care if he wins or loses. He just wants the people to be entertained and do some cool stuff. He got it done in this one. Khaos Williams, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be matchup specific, right, for Khaos going forward. If they purposely, intentionally give him a guy who wants to go out there, stand in the pocket and box with him, yeah, Khaos Williams will probably knock some more people out and probably win some fights, right? They give him like somebody who knows how to grapple and somebody who has like decent striking defense. Man, Khaos Williams might fizzle out as hard as he's blown up in the UFC. Is there anything you want to throw onto this one before we move on?
Yeah, I just this card, and I didn't see it before it happened, but I realized it after. This card was one of the, and we'll talk about it. There's more fights to mention that fit this description. It was like the fighters were asking for a step up in competition. The matchmakers gave them that step up in competition, but just in a way that it was like, okay, we're actually going to check the skills that you claim to have, and we're not going to give you a favorable matchup. We're going to give you a matchup that is going to bury you in a sense. And I would love to see, this is how they need to use Michel Faea. They need to use him to stifle these up and comers because he's never going to contend for a title or anything like that, but he can be used to be the dream killer and to stifle these these hype trains, and he can make a career out of just doing that alone. It's like you don't even want to say a gatekeeper. He's just like it's all matchup specific, right? Like somebody who has this style of being a power puncher, just like we saw with Khaos Williams. I think that, and I think he's gotten better since the last time we saw him. He's definitely gotten better since the Connolly fight.
Oh shit! Well, yeah, yeah. Well, the thing with the Connolly fight, which I think throws people off, is Michel came into that fight on I want to say a week's notice. Took it very short notice. Just didn't have the gas tank. He did 20 backflips on the way to the cage and really used about 2 rounds of energy before he even got into the octagon. So he learned his lesson. They let him do some very vanilla dancing on his way to the cage, but nothing that's really gonna use up some energy. So good stuff from Michel Pereira. He called out Anthony Pettis after the fight. I don't know if that's gonna work, man. I got a feeling even off of that pretty impressive win we saw from Pettis, I think we might see Pettis in Bellator next. That was a pretty close fight against a big step down in competition, but who knows, man? I'll say this. How crazy would it be to see somebody hit Anthony Pettis with a Showtime kick? they make that fight, that's a very real possibility. So I kind of like it. I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah,
so.
That's a great fight.
No, it is totally great. I mean, entertaining as could be, right? And honestly, a very good test for both guys, I feel like, at this point in their careers. So I like it. All right, we're already up to the co-main. Jose Aldo, the old man. Like I say, though, only 33 years old. It just feels like the guy's been around forever. And you look at the guy, you say, how is that a 33-year-old man? Jose Aldo, unanimous decision victory over Marlon Vera. Man, a very tricky fight, a fight that Jose came out, looked very good in the first round, looked very, very good in the first round. Second round, looked good early on, but we kind of saw the tide shift. We saw Marlon Vera starting to get his game going, but we see this all the time. Marlon Vera is a very slow starter. He loses the first round almost every time he fights. So this wasn't to be unexpected. Marlon Vera steps it up. I think probably won that second round. I think he did win this. He did, right? It was Aldo 29-28 on all three scorecards. So yeah. All three judges gave Vera the second round. Man, I got to give Aldo a lot of credit here. And this was absolute veteran savvy. We've known for years that Aldo can grapple. He's got good wrestling. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He's just a guy who loves to stand and bang, right? Sure enough, whether it be his corner, whether it be Aldo realized, and he said, you know what? I'm fading. Aldo really hasn't looked very good in the third round of any of these fights at Bantamweight. Went out there, man, did his thing, took the fight to the ground. Here's what's very, very disappointing for me about Marlon Vera, though. Aldo takes his back. That's fine. That's all good. Aldo gets him in a good body triangle, right? Locks the legs around him, locks it in. Man, 5 whole minutes, the entire round. Marlon Vera never once got that triangle, that body lock loose, right? Never even Aldo had to switch to the hook, getting the hooks in, never had to switch it to the other side. Most of the time you're going to see a guy, you got to protect your neck when someone's on your back, right? But you need to be using that other arm, or when you can, attacking that foot, trying to get that body lock off of you. Marlon Vera never fights it, stands all the way up with Aldo on his back, tries slamming him, blah, blah, blah. Aldo just rides him, literally just backpacks him the whole third round. How are you going to beat a guy even punching him on your back? When have we ever seen a guy win punching the dude in the face on his back? It just doesn't happen. Phenomenal game planning from Aldo. Terrible. I'll go ahead and say exposing the grappling of Marlon Vera. Very disappointing, dude. And another guy that I think has now been exposed. If you take Marlon Vera down, if you take Marlon Vera's back, he's got nothing for you. He did not do anything right there. I don't know if it was a mental lapse or what the deal is. I just don't think he's very good on the ground. And I think if you take his back, he's in serious trouble. Another guy that I think kind of got exposed. All the props in the world to Jose Aldo. Man, the old Brazilian man comes through, gets it done. I tell you what, I think he called out TJ Dillashaw after that fight. I think TJ Dillashaw's free from his suspension. You saw the suspension next month. Let's get that one booked, man. That sounds great to me. Aldo versus Dillashaw, a matchup that, a year ago would sound impossible, right? Dude, that sounds like a really good fight to me. I really want to see that one. What'd you think of this one, Al?
Yeah, this is one where I was sold lock, stock, and barrel on Marlon Vera here. I just thought, I thought the wrong fighter was favored. And I feel like there's something with Vera where he has this ability to almost intimidate his opponent. And that just did not work whatsoever with Aldo. Yeah, this was another one of those spots where the lower ranked guy, or the lower clout guy wanted to step up in competition. The matchmakers gave him that step up, but with that little quirk that was like, we're going to book you with someone that we know is better than you and can beat you. And I think that's what happened. He flew too close to the sun. Like it was, he bit off too much that he can chew. And it was interesting. I feel like if there was a crowd, the referee might have stood them up at some point in that third round. Vera was even like protesting to the ref, like, what are you not gonna do anything? And it's like
there was some gesturing, wasn't there?
Yeah, but it's like, no, I'm not. Why? You're being dominated. He's created this position. He got himself into it and he's riding it out. it's up to you to get out. It's not up to the referee.
Right.
And I feel like if that was in 2019, and the booing and the wooing, they eventually a co-main event, they definitely would have stood that up for maybe the last 30 seconds. Right. And that's what Vera was just, he looked like he was counting on that to happen, and the time just ran out. It was, I got duped. I thought I messaged you last week and I said, Vera's the spot on this card. The public's going to come in on Aldo because he's the recognizable name, and it was off. It was way off. And Aldo keeps surprising us. Aldo is, he's Cinderella. He's not going away. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him in 2021. He's a fighter that's not going anywhere.
No. They'll keep him around. I mean, he's been on point. He's at the top of 135, coming off of a very impressive win. Something told me, man, like, I picked Chito Vera, right? Like on the early, the shows, like I picked Chito Vera. I felt like as an underdog, he was a solid pick. I just felt like there was a good chance we were going to see that vintage Aldo, so I just couldn't lay the money on him. I talked earlier about how disappointed I was. I didn't bet Font, but I almost feel like I kind of broke even there, not putting something on Vera. So I'll call it a wash. I missed the spot on Font. A little bit disappointed there, but you know what? I backed off. I had good discipline. I didn't bet Vera. Call it a wash. Call it even. I'm happy. I honestly didn't lose a bet on the main card, so I guess I did pretty well all in all. Just wish I could have bet Font, but like I said, I had a plan for that one. Just didn't go as planned, but Font still gets the W. Here's one thing I will say though: if that fight stays standing in the third round, I think Vera probably wins. I think Vera probably takes that fight again. Though, man, just great fight IQ, great game planning from Jose Aldo in his corner. Take that fight where they needed to. Honestly, I think in retrospect, if you'd have told Jose how easy it was to take Vera's back and the control he had, that would have been the game plan from the jump. It would have just been a Jose Aldo grappling match. One thing I do want to say though, Jose kind of showed us the leg kicks, really threw some leg kicks, which he just really hadn't for the longest time. Brought him back. Good to see. Jose Aldo, man, don't count this guy out. He still is truly one of the best in the world. So that takes us up to the main event, man. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson with the 5-round 50-45 unanimous decision over Geoff Neal. And honestly, my man, it was not even close, Wonderboy just way too much. I had a feeling stylistically, I felt like Wonderboy matched up very well with Geoff Neal. And again, it was another fight where I had a lot of people whose opinion I respect were telling me, man, you're looking too far into this. You're putting too much, you're banking too hard on the fact that Geoff Neal was dealing with that staph infection and his life was on the line a few months ago. And, I said to those people, I don't think so, man. Like, this is a guy who acted like his life was like in the balance at a moment a few months ago. You're telling me this guy's going to be able to come in there and perform physically against Wonderboy in a 5-round fight? I mean, we know Wonderboy is one of the best welterweights in the world still. Wonderboy just runs away with this one, man. Great performance. Another guy in Wonderboy where we need to be looking, who does Wonderboy fight next? And whoever that is probably going to be someone ranked very high and could even be close to a number one contender spot here. Very impressed with Wonderboy, man. Again, another phenomenal performance. Ended up getting cut, but off of a headbutt. Really, that was about the worst damage he took in the fight. Did end up hurting his knee at one point. Pretty much went out there and fought that whole 5th round on a blown out knee. But all in all, man, I'm just very impressed with Wonderboy here. Another spot. I had Wonderboy. I bet Wonderboy. I felt like this was a great value spot. I even got him as, again, the slight underdog. I think they went off at pretty much a pick 'em. What'd you think of this one, Al?
Yeah, and this is yet another fight where, it's kind of a different situation because of what happened with Neal and his infection and all that. But this is another fight where they were giving the B side, if you will, a step up in competition, and they gave him somebody that they matched up with really well, and it favored the other fighter. It favored the veteran, and a lot of bettors got duped tonight, and me included. And it's one of those things where it's hard to really put your finger on what Wonder Boy does that's so great until you see it, and then it wears on you, and then it just slowly wears off. He has this, he's the most fluid. He's probably the best karate style MMA fighter I've ever seen since like Lyoto Machida.
I got him over Machida. His lateral movement, man, his ability to be like in front of you landing shots, and then you go, okay, my turn, and you're whiffing on air, and Wonder Boy's 10 feet to the right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's there, he puts in his work, and he's out. You know what I mean? And it's just a winning formula, you get him going left, bop, bop, bop. He's back to the right. You're following him. You're chasing him. The second Geoff Neal would cover up, Wonder Boy would just literally plant down in front of him. He wasn't throwing incredibly hard punches, but, Geoff Neal would cover up Wonder Boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, I'm out. You know what I mean? Geoff Neal throws another huge winging shot, nothing but air, Man, Wonder Boy, he's just so sharp. To be able to move, especially over 5 rounds, at approaching 38 years old, I talk about, constantly, man. And I brought it up earlier this week on my YouTube channel. When I made the prediction that Wonder Boy would win, I said, I'm going to take Wonder Boy, but nobody loves fading a 37-year-old welterweight than me. But I just felt like, stylistically speaking, Wonder Boy matched up well. We had question marks on Geoff Neal with the health issues, just everything. You add that weight to it, man, and it was an easy pick for me, I felt like. So I know a lot of people were high on Geoff Neal. I know a lot of people lost some money. I absolutely don't think anyone thought Wonder Boy was going to run away with it, that dominantly. And don't get me wrong, like Geoff Neal landed some good shots. He put some damage on Wonder Boy. He did some good stuff, but for my money, man, it was just so apparent that Wonder Boy won every round. And even by like the start of the 3rd round, you could tell Geoff Neal was just a broken man. He said at some point you realize there's nothing I'm going to be able to do outside of a lucky punch that's going to slow this guy down or stop him. He keeps touching me and I can't touch him. And personally, for my money, that's the best fighting style there is. I'm going to punch you a lot and you're never going to hit me. And that's Wonder Boy in a nutshell. How can you lose with that style? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it was one of those things where Neal, you could tell from very early on that Neal was not the same fighter that we knew, and I noticed this with Neal, I noticed this with Vera, and I noticed this with Khaos Williams. Is as soon as you see your fighter is starting to shell up, and they're supposed to be the harder hitter. They're supposed to be the guy that's going to engage and going to be the aggressor in the fight. And you start seeing them shelling up, that your bet's going the wrong direction, right? And Geoff Neal, he showed those hands of steel at some points, but he just looked so scared to get hit, so scared to take any damage. And he started to get conservative because he was chasing and getting caught. So then it just turned into a staring contest. And, you're just Wonder Boy is, he's like the Bill Belichick of MMA. He's going to put up margin on you on the points, and he's just going to keep racking it up. And, I don't think that he went into that fight thinking that he was going to finish him. What do you think? Like, I think that he game planned that he was going to wear him out for 25 minutes.
Yeah, well, like Wonder Boy, Wonder Boy's not like a power striker. You know what I mean? He's more of like a death by 1,000 cuts type fighter, like almost Diaz-esque, like he's not throwing like KO punches. Whereas Geoff Neal, when he throws a shot, it's meant to take you out, to knock you out, right? Wonder Boy was just going to touch you up, not necessarily with the most damaging punches, but any punch that hits you in the face 300 times over 5 rounds is going to mess you up, right? And then Wonder Boy kind of would, every round he'd throw like a big head kick or, like a spinning back kick or something. Like he would have big moments where I think, he would say, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to throw like a Hail Mary shot here. And honestly, a lot of those landed. Geoff Neal ate a few really hard head kicks, and I think they did hurt him, but that's just not Wonderboy's style, you know. Don't get me wrong, he's got some spectacular KOs with some of those kicks, but you know, Geoff Neal, just too tough of a guy, too durable. Wonderboy, you know, the numbers were just absurd that he put up on Geoff Neal. And all in all, man, just a phenomenal performance and almost a flawless victory from Wonderboy. You know, hopefully the knee's okay. I got to be honest, that knee looked kind of messed up to me. It kind of looked like some balled up muscle there. I think Wonderboy's probably going to need some time off, 6 to 9 months, maybe even longer, which is a little bit concerning for a guy that's almost 38 years old. You know, hopefully Wonderboy doesn't need to sit out a whole year, come back 38, almost 39, and, you know, be on the window of a title shot. You know, like Wonderboy needs to go now. You know, he's already at his expiration date, in my opinion. But my goodness, did he look sharp, and I was very, very impressed. Is there anything you want to throw on that one before we wrap this up, El?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, so in all the welterweight bouts in all of 2020, the over killed it this year. 89 and 45 for plus 20.4 units.
Damn.
On the over in welterweight. And even the underdog went 54, 79, and 1 for 13.2 units in the welterweight division. So that plus money, you know, the I don't know what it is. I think that it's almost the smaller cage makes the fighters in this division, because last year when I tracked this stat, the welterweight division was all about the unders, and it was the exact opposite this year. And I feel like almost like the smaller cage makes these fighters be more tactical, where they're less willing to engage, and it becomes more of a type of fight that you saw with like Usman and Masvidal, you know, just like a grappling contest or a stalemate type thing. It's not the greatest thing for an MMA fan, but it's a great thing as an MMA bettor. So we'll continue to track that going into 2021. This has been such a unique year for, you know, the trends in the UFC, just because, you know, we have so much history and then something just changed. So you can see in the data what has changed. And it'll be really lucrative when we get back to the old way of things with fans and the T-Mobile Arena and all that, because these fights won't happen the way that they, you know, that we've seen them carry out for the past 8 months. It's going to be so different. So that's going to be a really cool thing to look for 2021. Will be adjusting back to the normalcy, right? And to the fans and to the bigger cage and all that. So I'm super excited about that, because I think that for people like us, there's a really good opportunity to you know, to exploit those lines that are going to be based on a whole bunch of things that happened, you know, in 2020. And 2021 won't be like 2020. As once we get back to having fans and all that, it's going to be completely different. So yeah, I'm super excited. And just before we go, let's really touch quickly on the boxing, the Canelo and the Caleb Smith.
Man, one more feather in the cap for me tonight. I loved it, man. I had Canelo Alvarez in a parlay, cashed it. Wow, Canelo looked very, very good. I'll say this, though, man. His opponent, crazy output, looked really good. I think he even won the first round of the fight. But, man, Canelo Alvarez, man, just impeccable boxing. His ability, you know, Wonderboy-esque in his ability to avoid damage. That guy just is, you know, you throw a shot and he's just not there anymore. Whether he's ducking, getting under, moving back, he's just, I mean, it looked like Canelo got hit with some very good shots in that fight. But, man, that post-fight interview, the dude looks like he walked off the street. It's just unreal. Phenomenal stuff from Canelo Alvarez. Here's all I'm wondering. Who's next? Who do you think, Al?
I think they're going to have to run it back with Triple G, and Triple G isn't the fighter that he used to be. So I would love after seeing that performance, I feel like Caleb Smith really gave him a tough go. His hand speed was incredible. But yeah, Alvarez's ability to just go straight through that guard, pop right through that guard with the jab, set up the uppercut, and he was just eating that uppercut the entire fight. It was marvelous. And I had the over, we watched the fight together. That it started to get a little bit sweaty there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was a good one, and we got a couple more good boxing fights to end 2020. So that'll be fun. But beyond that, we're done for combat sports in North America here.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, on to 2021.
No doubt. Well, it sounds like we may have a 2020 year in review coming for you guys, so be on the lookout for that, right, Al? That ought to be pretty cool, man. We got a lot to talk about in what was the absolute craziest year in combat sports. I mean, let's just take a moment to thank Dana White and really combat sports in general for having the balls to come out and actually say, you know what, we're going to take precautions. We're going to do what we do, but we're going to come back. We're not going to sit on the sidelines and let all these things happen. I kind of feel like we owe combat sports, the UFC specifically, a lot of credit for, being brave enough to kind of, step into the spotlight. And I think, the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball kind of watched them as a smaller organization and said, you know what? They're doing it. We'll do it too. I think they deserve some credit for bringing sports back. What do you think of that, Al?
Yeah, I'm not gonna praise the UFC, but I am going to say that what they did this year helped MMA more. MMA in general is just it's leaps and bounds where it was. If you think about where MMA as a sport in North America was, March 7th, 2020, at the tail end of Adesanya Romero. If you think about that was the pay-per-view, the last pay-per-view that we had was that freaking fight. So many people were so upset. And then to think about everything that happened, leading that to an empty arena and seeing Adesanya knocking out Costa and it being one of the biggest events in UFC history. And just, if you look back to how this year started and how it ended, there's no denying it. You could hate on the UFC all you want. There's no denying it. What they did for MMA, they're right up there with everything else. They're right up there with they're competing with Major League Baseball. Who wants to watch Major League Baseball when you got people fighting? It's just they changed the game. They completely changed the game. And we're all better for it. I'm better for it. All of the MMA fans in the world, we do owe the UFC, quite a bit. Everything aside from what we're talking about here, but yeah, they did such a good job, and we wouldn't be in the same position. We probably, if you think about it, if the pandemic didn't happen, probably wouldn't have got such good fights.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's been an incredible year. I mean, listen, honestly, from a business standpoint, the UFC is probably one of the biggest winners, really, when it comes to the pandemic in general. So it is what it is, man. The UFC did their damn thing. Praise be to Dana White, one of my close personal mentors. So. All right, man. I think that's it. I think that is a wrap for 2020 UFC Vegas 17, man. It's in the books. Thank goodness it was a good night for me, man. I can't complain. Nothing but happy positivity and smiles for me. This is a very tough card. I know a lot of people got shellacked pretty bad. Man, I came out smelling like roses, though. Another good winning night for me. I know you bounced back well with boxing. Man, we got our sights set. Mid-January, we're back, baby. Like I said, we'll have that 2020 full year in review video coming out for you people. I think we'll probably hit them with that a week from tonight.
Yeah, a week from tonight, same time. Just as if there was a UFC event happening, we're going to go live next Saturday.
Absolutely. Al, let them know where to find you.
Yeah, hit me up on Twitter, Almac, at Almac Odds. I made over 800 public MMA bets in 2020, and I finished up 10.5 units with over 800 bets, all independently verified. You can see the link on my Twitter. I might not be pretty, but sometimes I know what I'm talking about when it comes to MMA. So follow me, and I'm super excited about next year.
Absolutely, man. Hey, you came out of 2020 profiting in MMA. Woo, you joined a very small and exclusive club. So good work, my man. Man, it was a tough year for a lot of people. So it is what it is, though. Pandemic, the things have changed. It's just it's kind of a different thing. And you're right, Al. We're going to transition into this. How are we going to transition out in 2021? Boy, I don't know, but all I know is I cannot wait. Stay tuned, folks. OddsHQ and odds.com. We're going to be bringing it to you every week. So appreciate you guys for watching. It's been a great 2020. My man, Al, thank you for having me on this show. Thank you for being a part of this show. It's been great. I can't wait to pick up where we left off. We're out of here, man. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.